There is a version of you that already exists. He wakes up tomorrow with the body you keep saying you'll build. He has money in the bank that doesn't disappear by the 15th. He walks into a room and people listen when he speaks. He sleeps well. He isn't scared of his own phone. He is not smarter than you. He is not luckier than you. He did not get a head start. He is simply the person who kept 7 promises you keep breaking. And here is the part nobody says out loud. He is walking every single day. Whether you move or not, he takes a step forward. Every morning you hit snooze, he gets a little further away. Every night you say tomorrow, the distance grows. And there comes a point, I have watched it happen to good people, where the gap becomes too wide to close. Not because they lacked ability, because they ran out of road. So stay with me till the end of this, because the 7th rule is the one almost nobody survives. 6 of them you have heard before in some form. The 7th is the reason most people who start never finish. I'll get to it, but you have to earn it, because it won't make sense until the first 6 are sitting inside you. Let me tell you what this really costs. Most people think the price of staying the same is 0. That's the lie. Staying the same is the most expensive thing you will ever do. You don't pay for it today. You pay for it in installments, quietly, over 30 years, and the final bill arrives on a random Tuesday when you're 53 and you realize you're not disappointed in your circumstances anymore, you're disappointed in yourself. That's a different kind of pain. Circumstances you can blame. Yourself, you cannot escape. Here is the picture I want you to hold on to for the next hour, because everything I'm about to tell you connects to it. Your life is a house you are building without a blueprint. Every choice you make is a brick, not a dramatic brick, a small one, the kind nobody notices. You wake up early, that's a brick. You skip the workout, that's a brick removed. You keep your word to yourself, brick. You tell a small lie to avoid an uncomfortable conversation, brick removed. Nobody watches you lay them. Nobody applauds. And for years the house doesn't look like anything at all. Then one day you step back and there it is. The house you actually built, not the one you talked about. And the terrifying thing about houses is that they don't care about your intentions. They only reflect your bricks. The 7 rules I'm about to give you are not motivation. They are the load-bearing walls. Break 1, the house leans. Break several, it comes down, usually at the exact moment you finally get something worth protecting. Rule 1, never break a promise you made to yourself. I want to tell you about a man I met years ago. He ran a small business, nothing spectacular, and he was drowning. Not in debt, in himself. He described his mornings to me like this. Alarm rings at 5. He set it at 5 because he decided the night before that he was going to become a 5 o'clock person. Alarm rings, he turns it off. He sleeps until 7. He gets up angry, and by 7:15, before he has even eaten, he has already lost a fight with himself. Then he goes into his day and wonders why he doesn't trust his own decisions. I asked him one question. I said, if you had an employee who agreed to show up at 5 and showed up at 7 every day, for 2 years, would you trust that employee with anything important? He went quiet. He said no. I'd have fired him a long time ago. I said, so why are you still in business with him? Here's the struggle you know well. You are not lazy. That's not your problem. You have worked hard in your life. You've stayed up for people. You've shown up when it hurt. The problem is that all of that showing up was for someone else. A boss, a customer, a family member. You keep promises to the whole world. You break them only with yourself. And you've convinced yourself that doesn't count because nobody saw. But something saw. You saw. Here's why most people fail at this. They try to fix it by making bigger promises. They've broken the small ones so many times that they think the answer is a dramatic vow. I'm waking at 4:30. I'm doing 75 days. I'm never touching sugar again. And it works for 9 days, and then it collapses. And now the evidence against you is even heavier than before. You didn't build discipline. You just gathered more proof that you can't be trusted. So here is what to do today, and I want you to do it exactly. Make one promise so small it's almost embarrassing. Not a life-changing one, a tiny one. 10 push-ups, 1 page, 5 minutes of walking. Something so small that failing would be ridiculous. And then keep it. Today, tomorrow, the day after. Do not increase it. Do not get ambitious. You are not building fitness or knowledge right now. You are building something far more valuable, evidence. Because self-trust is not a feeling. It's a record. Your brain is quietly keeping score. And every kept promise adds a line to a file marked, this person does what they say. And when that file gets thick enough, something changes. You stop having to force yourself. You just move. Because that's who you are now. Small promise, kept. Small promise, kept. That's how trust gets built. Not by proving you can do something huge once. By proving you cannot be talked out of something small. And once you can trust yourself, you'll immediately run into the next problem, because trusting yourself means nothing if you hand your day to whoever asks for it first. Rule 2. Never let someone else's urgency become your priority. Think about your last ordinary day, not a crisis day, a normal one. You woke up with a rough idea of what mattered. Maybe one real thing you wanted to move forward, and then the phone lit up. A message, a request. Somebody needed something now, and you're a decent person, so you help. Then another, then a call, then a small problem that wasn't yours but landed on you anyway. And at 11 at night you sat down, exhausted, and realized you had worked for 14 hours and moved nothing of your own. Not one thing. I knew a woman who ran a design studio, brilliant at what she did, and she was slowly going under. Not from lack of clients, from too many. Every client had her number. Every client believed their emergency was the only emergency. She answered everything within minutes because she thought that's what good service meant. And her actual business, the systems, the pricing, the hiring she needed to do, sat untouched for 3 years. She finally did something that felt reckless to her. She stopped replying instantly. That's it. She checked messages twice a day and answered in batches. She was certain she'd lose half her clients. She lost one, and that one had been the most difficult client she had. Here's the struggle. You feel guilty. You feel that if you don't respond right now, you're letting someone down, you're being cold, you're being selfish. So you stay available, permanently available. And availability feels like generosity, but it isn't. It's a slow surrender of the only thing you can't get back. Here's why most people fail at this. They think the solution is to say no more often. So they try to become tougher, and it doesn't fit them, and they feel like a bad person. And within a week they're back to answering everything at midnight. The problem was never that you say yes too much. The problem is that you decide in the moment. And in the moment, with someone's need staring at you, you will always say yes. That's not weakness, that's being human. So don't decide in the moment. Decide in advance. Here's what to do today. Take a pen and write down the first 2 hours of tomorrow. Just 2 hours. Decide right now, tonight, while nobody is pulling at you, what those 2 hours belong to. Not what you'd like to do, what they belong to. Then tomorrow, when the requests come, and they will come, you are not making a decision. You're just reading a decision you already made when your mind was clear. The strongest people I've known were not the ones who could say no under pressure. They were the ones who had already answered the question long before the pressure arrived. Your day gets stolen in pieces so small you don't feel it. Take back 2 hours. 2 hours, protected, every day for a year, is over 700 hours. That's a new skill. That's a business. That's a body. But protecting your time is only half the battle, because there's something that will drain you even inside your protected hours, and you probably invited it in yourself. Rule 3. Never take advice from someone who isn't living what you want. There's a man I think about often. He wanted to leave his job and start something. He had savings, he had a skill, he had the appetite. And he did the thing that felt responsible. He asked the people around him. He asked his uncle, who had worked in the same office for 28 years and hated it. The uncle said it's too risky, stay where you are. He asked his friends, who were also employees, also frustrated, also stuck. They said the market is tough right now, wait a year. He asked a relative who had tried a business once, failed badly, and never tried again. That relative gave him the longest warning of all. So he stayed for 6 more years. And every one of those people who advised him, every single one, was still in the exact same position when he finally left. Here's what nobody tells you. When you ask a frightened person for advice, you don't get advice. You get their fear, dressed up in a suit, sounding responsible. They aren't lying to you. They believe it. But they are describing the limits of their own life, not the limits of yours. The struggle you know well is this. You go to the people who love you. And love is not the same as insight. The people who care about you most are often the people most invested in you not changing, because your change threatens the story they've built about their own choices. If you leave and succeed, what does that say about the fact that they never left? Here's why most people fail at this. They think the solution is to stop listening to anyone. So they become stubborn, they wall themselves off, and they walk straight into mistakes that 10 minutes of the right conversation would have prevented. That's not independence. That's just a more expensive way to be wrong. The answer isn't fewer opinions. It's better filtering. So here is what to do today. Take the biggest decision you're currently sitting on. Write it at the top of a page. Now, underneath, write the names of every person whose opinion you've been carrying about it. And beside each name, answer one question honestly. Has this person actually done the thing I am trying to do? Not thought about it. Not read about it. Done it. Most of the names will fail that test. Cross them out. Not out of your life, out of this decision. Their love stays. Their vote goes. And then find one person who has done it. 1. You don't need a mentor. You don't need a network. One conversation with someone who has actually walked the road is worth 10 years of encouragement from people standing at the entrance. Advice from the frightened keeps you safe. Advice from the experienced makes you capable. Learn the difference and your decisions get sharper overnight. But even with the right voices around you, there's something that will quietly undo all of it, and it's something you probably think of as a strength. Rule 4. Never confuse motion with progress. Let me describe a day to you and tell me if you recognize it. You wake up early. Good. You read something useful. You watch a video about out how to improve. You take notes. You reorganize your list. You research the best tools. You plan next week properly this time. You set up a new system. You feel productive. You feel like you're finally getting somewhere. And then a month passes and nothing in your actual life has changed. I once knew a young man who wanted to be a writer. For 2 years he talked about it. He bought 3 notebooks. He researched publishing. He studied the routines of famous authors. He knew more about writing than almost anyone I'd met. In 2 years he had written 11 pages. He wasn't lazy. He was busy. That's what made it so hard for him to see. Laziness announces itself. Motion disguises itself as work, and it feels good, because preparation is safe. Nobody can judge a plan. Nobody can reject an outline. The moment you actually produce something, you become exposed. Here's the struggle. You are tired at the end of the day. Genuinely tired. So it can't have been wasted, right? But there's a difference between being tired from carrying something and being tired from rearranging it. Most people spend their lives rearranging. Here's why most people fail at this. They try to fix it by planning better. They think, my system wasn't good enough, let me find a better one. And so they go looking for another method, another app, another framework, which is more motion. The disease pretending to be the cure. So here's what to do today, and it will feel uncomfortable, which is how you'll know it's right. Ask yourself one question at the end of today. What exists now that did not exist this morning? Not what did I learn? Not what did I plan? What exists? A page written, a call made, a rep completed, a message sent to someone who could change your life. Something that has weight, that you could point at. And if the answer is nothing, don't punish yourself. Just notice. Then tomorrow, do one thing that produces before you do anything that prepares. One thing. Before the research, before the planning, before the reading, one act of production while your energy is still fresh. Because planning grows your comfort. Producing grows your life. Motion feels like movement. Only output leaves a mark. Which brings us to the thing that makes production so hard, and it's not laziness. It's something almost nobody admits to. Rule 5. Never make a decision to avoid a feeling. There was a man I spoke with who had stayed in the wrong job for 11 years. 11. He was capable. He had offers. He had a wife who supported whatever he chose. And when I asked him why he never moved, he gave me all the practical answers. First, the pension, the timing, the market. Then he said something more honest. He said, I don't know how to have the conversation with my boss. 11 years of his life spent avoiding one uncomfortable afternoon. That's not unusual. That's normal. That's most of us. Look at your own life closely and you'll find it. The relationship you stayed in because leaving required a hard talk. The money you didn't ask for because asking felt awkward. The friend you stopped seeing rather than telling them what they did. The email sitting unopened in your inbox for 6 days because you already know it contains something unpleasant. Here's the struggle. You are not avoiding the thing. You are avoiding a feeling that lasts about 90 seconds. That's roughly how long the sharp part of discomfort lives before it dulls. 90 seconds. And to avoid 90 seconds of discomfort, people trade away years. Here's why most people fail at this. They wait to feel ready. They think courage is a mood that eventually arrives, and when it does, they'll act. So they wait for the fear to leave. But fear doesn't leave first. Fear leaves after. Action comes first, and courage arrives late, breathless, apologizing for the delay. Here's what to do today. Find the one thing in your life you've been avoiding. You already know what it is. You thought of it before I finished the sentence. And do it in the next 10 minutes. Not tomorrow. Not after you've prepared what to say. Now, while you're slightly annoyed and slightly stirred up, because that's the best condition to act in. Make the call. Send the message. Open the email. Say the sentence. It will be uncomfortable for 90 seconds. And then it will be over. And you will feel something that you have been starving for without knowing it, the feeling of being someone who does hard things. Discomfort avoided becomes discomfort multiplied. Discomfort faced becomes discomfort finished. Do that once and you'll notice something strange. Your whole day feels lighter, because you've been carrying that thing everywhere you went without realizing how heavy it was. Now we're halfway. 5 rules down, 2 to go, and the last 2 are where most people break. The 6th one is the rule that decides whether anything you've built actually survives success. And the 7th is the one that separates the people who change for 3 weeks from the people who change for good.